Hey guys, today we're gonna play some chess. This is the Master Michel, and in this video I will be playing and commenting and saying everything I think and everything I see on the board, trying to explain as much as possible. Keep watching. So I just created this challenge for a 3 minutes 2 seconds blitz game, and let's see what happens. This time control is very fast to be commenting, but you know, I will do my best here. I play double king's pawn, and then he plays f4. Okay, f4 king's gambit. Well, the main line here is pawn takes pawn, but I prefer to avoid those tactics variations. I think the classic variation is very well here. Bishop c5, knight f3 d6. Then he should play c3. It's one of the main lines. And then I should play bishop e4 here. The idea is to avoid d4, so now I'm pinning. Okay, bishop e2. He's still threatening d4, but I just play knight c6, avoiding d4 again. Then a good move here is b4, I have seen it. Okay, he's playing with this idea d3, which is also fine. And, well, I'm trying to remember here. I think I'll just continue with my development. Okay, so something like knight f6, yeah. And then he should try, yeah. Before I go back, there's this idea knight a3, knight c4. After a4, I need to play a6, I think, and then he can play knight a3. This is an interesting move. Okay, he's fine. He knows the theory very well. So I think I'm going to castle here. He can play b5 or knight c4. And then I'm thinking here, he's taking my bishop. That should be a problem. I'm playing bishop a7. I need to play that, yeah, to keep the bishop in this diagonal. And then he's trading. And if I take, he's getting the pawn on e5. But I always have compensation here. His king is in the middle of the board. What I'm thinking is if I should take here in between. Yeah, I think I will capture in between here, so I don't lose the central pawn on e5. And I can take either with pawn or knight. I prefer to capture with knight, so the knight doesn't help him to play bishop e3 in the next moves, and I can keep this great bishop in this diagonal. Okay. Okay, now he's playing knight e3 because he wants to castle. Okay, that's fine. I'm thinking d5, and then if he takes, he can play something like rook e1. Sorry, like rook e8, do some activity, and then if he castles, the knight will be pinned, so I will be taking on d5. I don't think I can get too much with that. Well, by now I'm just going to remove the bishop. So I don't like him to have two bishops, and by now I'm going to improve the rook. Yeah, okay. He can castle d5. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, d5, and as the knight is pinned, I can't recapture with queen in the next. Yeah, okay. Now I have some interesting pressure here, but also some interesting pressure on the pinned knight, so this is looking good. I can take with queen, right? That's the best move I can play here. And then he can play 24 at some point. Yeah, he can play 24, and then I will have to trade queens because I'm losing my queen on d5. Now the knight was taken. So after rook takes, then I'm thinking c6. I'm thinking to play c6. There is this move knight e4. I like it. I'm threatening things. He needs to play bishop b2 in the next. I think I have some initiative here. But bishop b2 seems to be defending everything. Okay, so knight f5. He's defending with the knight. Okay, if I play g6, he has knight h6. Okay, well, I don't see this very clear, so I'm just improving my rook. I really want to play g6 because then if the knight is gone, I can sacrifice pieces over here, but I don't think I can do that. Well, now maybe I will be... Okay, maybe I can play g6. What about knight takes pawn here? Rook takes knight. I will play g6 right now, and then we will see what happens. If knight check, I go here to g7, and then I'm threatening things like knight takes pawn. That's interesting. Let's see what he plays, but I really want to play knight takes pawn the next. He can move the king. Well, if he moves the king, I play rook, knight f2, getting the rook. So what can he play here? I have only 14 seconds, so probably... Okay, knight takes pawn, is that a good move? I mean, I just take, then he checks. Yeah, that's a good move. Okay, let's see. Yeah, he checks, I need to go back. Yeah, he checks, I go back. But if he checks over here, that's a little better. Yeah, okay, let me go back. I'm lost here. He trades, he's getting the knight. Yeah, I lost one pawn here. Okay. So I lost one pawn in the end. I have only 4 seconds, so of course this is not looking good. But, well, it's not easy to win this position for white. I mean, he has a pawn majority in the queen side. Okay, what about this move? I'm planning to play some rook takes pawn at some point, so... You can go bishop c1. Rook takes pawn is not really working by now, but maybe later. You can go bishop g5 again. Okay, now what? c5? Okay. In the end, this is good because now these pawns are in dark squares, so this is bad for his bishop. Also, there's another pawn in dark square, so probably this is fine for me. Okay. I have some check over here. He comes back. Okay. What if I play this? What if I play this? He plays rook f4. Should I trade bishops? Well, I think I could have a draw. Well, he has a check. But now what does he do with the rook? He needs to play bishop here. He needs to play bishop here, and then I'm getting the pawn back. Okay, well, rook f8, king g7. In the end, I'm not so lost. This should be a draw. If we both play fine, this is a draw. But, well, this is a very strong time pressure, so anything can happen here. King here, moving the king out of the file, also protecting the pawn. And then let's see. Okay, he can play rook f6. It's interesting. I have to defend. And this is a blunder, right? I'm getting one pawn for free. And now I'm better. Now I'm better here. You can check, but it doesn't mean too much. Just come back. Okay. What if I check? I have another check in the next. Okay. And then I have another check if he goes to g3. If I trade rooks, I win. But he can take here. Okay, I play rook here. And then I play rook here. I want to make sure his rook cannot go there and threaten my pawns, so that's why I play it like this. So now I'm just trying to advance. My rook is active, his rook is passive, so this endgame should be very well. Let's see what he plays. He checks and go here. This is just good for me. I check and then I play king h3 in the next, so I can block with my pawn if there is some check. Okay, so here I can play some moves. I think this is very well, because in the next I have g3 check and then I promote him. I can give him a check first to make sure his king is away, and then g2 and win. Okay. Okay, this is a win, right? Okay, well, let me check for some seconds here. The moment where I lost the pawn. Okay, this is the moment. So I played g6, which seems to be good, because I have some ideas like knight takes pawn, getting the pawn on d4 later with check, getting the rook. That was my plan, because the knight is right now defending. But then he can play check and knight takes pawn. That's very interesting. That's very interesting here. He's attacking my rook. Well, in the end I captured, and then he plays this nice move, bishop g5, because I thought he could play over here, and maybe I can play knight f6 if he goes over there, because then I'm getting his rook. But then he goes over the other side, over g5, and I cannot play knight f6 now because he's just taking. I mean, I played it, but now he's better. But if I don't play that, if I go, then he's taking, and then he's taking the knight, so he's with the piece up. So I need to play like this, I think, and then I have a pawn down. Yeah. Well, in the end I was like playing, we were under time pressure. This moves c4, c5, blocking his own pawns in dark squares is probably not a good idea. But again, we are under time pressure. And once he plays this, king f2, I have a draw here, I think. He can play rook d6. But maybe I have a draw anyway. So rook f4, and then I have repetition, I think. He checks, I move here, and then he needs to, the rook cannot move, so he needs to give me the pawn. I get it, and then this is a draw, but then he made another mistake later when he played h5. Now, I am the one with the extra pawn. If I can trade a couple of rooks, it's great, because then I'm pushing much more easily, and then okay, and now check, and check, and check. Yeah. Once I trade a couple of rooks, the endgame is much easier. Now, I'm attacking this pawn, so I make sure my rook is active, his rook is passive. That's very important in rook's endgames. And with an extra pawn, this should be winning. Okay. If you have any question about this game or anything you want to add, feel free to write it in the comments. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Help my channel with some like if it was like that. Subscribe so you get notifications for my next videos. Never stop believing. See you in the next.